Okay, this is a recording for deploying Cloudian within a local zone using AWS CloudFormation. A couple prerequisites to this is you should already have your local zone access ready, creating a subnet within your VPC and route table all set up to be working within that local zone. In this instance, we're working with the Boston local zone. And so we're going to go ahead and start with creating a stack using a template file. We'll give this a name. Now, this is where you're going to need to fill out the parameters that match your environment. Currently, this template has the default values set to match my environment, but you can come in and edit this to match your VPC ID, change your CIDR, change your subnet, personal MyIP if you want to use that function or not. The instance size, we're defaulting to R5D 2 extra large, which is 8-core CPU and 64 gigs of RAM. We would prefer to run this with a 4XL with 128 gigs of RAM and 16 CPUs. The key pair name, so change the key pair. Here you can change the size of the volumes. There'll be 2 EBS volumes for storing data on each of the 3 nodes that are being deployed. 150, 300, or 500 in gigabytes. And this will be the root password set for the system. And you can also set the time zone. There's a summary. Submit. Now, this deployment will take about 3 or 4 minutes to spin up the machines, provision, attach the EBS volumes. It downloads our software, unpacks our software onto the node to stage it, and then we will transition to SSH access to perform the installation, which itself takes about 10 to 15 minutes or so. More CPUs will definitely speed up the installer, and then we will come back to the user web interface to show a working Cloudian HyperStore system through the web interface. Okay, now we have completed this. This took approximately 15, 16 minutes. So we take a look at the stack info again. So we have the stack ID, the description. I'll refresh it here. Its creation is completed. The resources that we've assigned, security group, there are 3 nodes, 2 EBS volumes. They are attached for each of the nodes. And outputs, we store the private and public IP that are assigned to the system. So we will take node 1's public IP here. And just quickly look at EC2, see the instances that are running. And you can see networking. These are in the availability zone for Boston. Now we're going to shift over to console into that system. We'll see Cloudian 1 and 2 are mounted, formatted. We use a survey file that describes the environment, also created by the Cloud Formation. Now we're just using DNS mask to force the install without setting up DNS. It would be recommended to have proper domain set, and that can be modified before installation as well. And this will be, we're doing batch mode, so we are not going to have it interactive. So this is going to deploy its own custom Cloudian SSH trust. So the password that was used during the CloudFormation template is provided here. Now this process is pushing our software to the rest of the nodes, preparing the configuration for the software to run, and completing with performing the actual cluster initialization and completing the installation. This will take about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, the install is complete. Now we will log into the management console. First thing we do is change the password for admin user. See, we have 3 nodes that were provisioned. We'll create a storage policy. Three-way replica using quorum. All buckets will be created with this policy. It's fine to have multiple policies, and you choose which bucket to use when you create the bucket. Create a group so we can have user. In that group. It's the password for the console. We can log in as that user now. Create a bucket within our default region 1 using RF3. Now we have our bucket. We can upload a file. We can get the security credentials for this user. Find our access key, and our secret key pops up here. You can use this information to populate into your applications and configure your endpoints. These are the default endpoints that we are using. So we went with DNS mask. So, to adjust that would be, pre-configuring the right domains to use before the installation. That will be to make that part of the installation kind of configuration options on CloudFormation. So anyways, we have the bucket, we have our object. We also support IAM, so we can create users. Anyways, I'm going to end this here.